Good day, everyone. I am Erica Junjiswala, and I will. This is the group 11 for literature, and our topic is all about the overview of the African literature. Before that, we must know that the African literature is the body of traditional and oral written literatures in Afro-Asiatic and African languages, together with works written by Africans in European languages. The oral literature, this includes stories, dramas, riddles, histories, myths, songs, proverbs, and other expressions, is frequently employed to educate and entertain children. Oral histories like myths and proverbs additionally serve to remind the whole communities of their ancestors' heroic deeds, their past, and the precedents of their customs and traditions. The oral tradition. So, the nature of storytelling. Storytelling is a sensory union of image and idea. It is a process of recreating the past in terms of the present. The storyteller uses realistic images to describe the present and fantasy images to evoke and embody the substance of a culture's experience of the past. These ancient fantasy images are the culture's heritage and the storyteller's bounty. They contain the emotional history of the culture, its most deeply felt yearnings and fears, and they therefore have the capacity to elicit strong emotional responses from members and audiences.
The riddle. In the riddle, two unlike and sometimes unlikely things are compared. The obvious thing that happened during this comparison is the problem is set, then solved through its imagery and the tension between the two sets. The imagination of the audience is also engaged. As they seek the solution to the riddle, the audience itself becomes a part of the image, and therefore, and the most significantly of the metaphorical transformation. The lyric. The image and African lyric interact in dynamic fashion, establishing metaphorical relationship within the poem. And so it is that riddling is the motor of the lyric. The singer organizes and controls the emotion of the audience as he systematically works his way through the level of the poem, carefully establishing the connective threads that bring the separate metaphorical sets into the poem totality. So here's an example of the lyric. People were those who broke for me the string, therefore the place became like this to me, on account of it. Because the string was that which broke for me, therefore the place does not feel to me, as the place used feel to me, on account of it. For the place feels as if it stood open before me, because string has broken for me, therefore the place does not feel pleasant to me, on account of it. The proverb. The African proverb seems initially to be a hackneyed expression, a trite leftover repeated until it loses all force. But proverb is also performance, it is also metaphor, and it is in its performance and metaphorical aspects that it achieves its power. In one sense, the experience of a proverb is similar to that of a riddle and lyric poem. Different images are brought into a relationship that is novel, that provide insights. So here's an example of proverb. When you educate a man, you educate an individual. When you educate a woman, you educate a generation.
The folktale is an anonymous, timeless story circulated oral among African people and meant to hand down knowledge and wisdom from parent to child, typically through tales by moonlight. Oral tradition and the written word. Oral and written storytelling traditions have had a parallel development and many ways they have influenced each other. Ancient Egyptians described early Hausa and Swahili copies and memorizers. The contemporary writing of popular novellas have been the obvious and circulate traditions, figure, and movement from oral and literal traditions. History: the story of a people, their institutions, and their community is the way one like to think things happens in the real world. The hero is every man moving through a change, a transformation, and so moving into the might and essence of his story. He thereby becomes a part of it, representative of its embodying the culture, and the hero is every man with the mind inside him. He has been mythologized. Story does that metaphor is a transformational process, the movement from the real to the mythic and back again to the real change forever, because has become mythized, because has been moved into story and returned with the elixir.
So today I will continue to discuss about the Africans pre-colonial, colonial, and post-colonialism. So what happened actually in the pre-colonial in the Africa? So in the pre-colonial African societies, the oral literature was the only form of literature known to the various people of Kenya. It was valued as one of the major means by which these societies educated. It also instructed and socialized their younger members. What happened in the colonialism of Africa? Colonialism is also resulted in cultural displacement. African were forced to adopt Western traditions, and it affected their belief. It affected their belief system, and they began to see themselves in a Eurocentric view, and they become pseudo-Africans. They did no longer value African tradition or heritage. So mo na siya nahitabo sa colonialism sa Africa. So what happened also in the post-colonial? So pag post-colonial na, their literature has been an extraordinarily influential institution in post-colonial Africa. And African writers, daw diri na nagsulat ang African writers, so they have been prominent in the struggles to build modern democratic societies on the ruins of the colonial state. Murag ilang gitarong ang sa literature sa Africa tungod sa nahitabo sa colonialism. No? They have been prominent in the struggles to build modern democratic societies on the ruins of colonial state and against the brutalities of the many dictatorial post-independence regimes of the continent. So that's what happened in the post-colonialism in Africa. So that's all. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something.